acid oasis in an unforgiving environment, and the progenitor species to the most hated elder race in the galaxy fight for their survival. Next on Walking with Grox. It's only reasonable to assume that the most hostile race in the galaxy arose from an even more hostile environment. After watching their pack leader get killed at the hands of a hungry Initrox, the Groblins flee to the safety of their dens. Downstream from the volcanic well, on the banks of the far end of the acid oasis, lies the eroded hills of an extinct volcano. These hills have crater-like crevices littered across the formation. It's these pits that serve as the Groblins' home. While their king may have fallen, the group still remains functional. After all, a king who does not return to his throne is no king, in their eyes at least. It is ironic that the galaxy's most cold-hearted empire feels the need to exact vengeance for those who've fallen among their ranks. Their honor, their code, their ideals are all truly incomprehensible and perplexing. The Grox mindset is not one of a typical living being. If anything, it's more in line with that of machines. Does a computer possess empathy, sympathy? No, it doesn't. It may display actions that one could foolishly believe are executed out of concern for their users. But had the computer's programmer not installed those protocols into place, your computer wouldn't advise you not to download a virus, delete important system files, etc. If a singular Grox is killed in action, said Grox isn't mourned. There is no ceremony of remembrance held. Instead, it seems as if the company learns from their fallen comrades' mistakes that led it to its potentially avoidable demise. While its life isn't remembered, its death is heavily cataloged. Even so, the Goblin King's death isn't taken in vain. There are two things Groblins excel at: learning and multiplying. The pack knows now that danger lurks around every corner, and that the oasis has attracted the attention of not only potential prey items, but other predators as well. And it's here we see the other redeeming trait these creatures possess: a side of them, who, mind you, their descendants would become the galaxy's most hated inhabitants, soft, almost benign side. These hills are the ideal nesting sites, and Groblins are devoted parents. It's time for the next generation of Groblins to be born. Oh dear. I think one of them is feeling a bit under the wet. What the fuck did I just... The fuck did it just vomit up? Okay, Groblins reproduce not by laying eggs, nor by live birth, but by a process known as beaning. I'm done. Who wrote this? Who wrote this script? Oh my... Beaning. Are we serious? Beaning. Anyways, the Groblins give birth to Oh my... You're not paying me enough for this. I'm telling you, you're not. Seeing as the narrator is having an episode here, I feel the need to explain the concept of being. While the exact means of reproduction of the Grox in modern day remains largely obscured by their overall isolationist policies, it has been found that their pre-modern, non-cyborg predecessors, the Grob, bore young through this bizarre endeavor. When an organism is being, it coughs up small bean-like contents. These beans are in fact the fetus, coated in a thick layer of skin. Over the course of a range of a few days to a few weeks, this new bean metamorphoses into the full-fledged adult stage, completing the organism's life cycle. Very few creatures reproduce through beans, but there is actually one relatively widespread creature that is found across numerous planets that reproduces through beaning. In fact, the creature is the process's namesake, the bean. Interestingly enough, the bean is actually capable of both beaning and laying eggs. In all likelihood, a bean will only resort to beaning if there are no other beans present in that ecosystem. Why? Well, we don't exactly know why. Current general consensus suggests that beaning limits genetic diversity, as the parent is only using their own genetic material to create young, thus creating a clone of itself, while those born from eggs were conceived by two individuals with at least somewhat different gene pools. Okay. Professional. It's these goblin beans that will grow into the next generation. And for a species so physically unimpressive, putting two heads together is better than one. Until the grob beans have fully matured into their adult stage, the parent goblins will guard their beans, protecting them from any would-be predators. Predators ranging from Initrox nymphs to other hungry goblins.
When the Grox launch a ground assault, they themselves almost never do the fighting. Instead, they send a vessel or a pod, collectively referred to as simply an Infectrox. This Infectrox pod has on board an advanced AI nanomachines and genetic material for creating their soldiers. These soldiers don't resemble the Grox themselves, but are very toxic to the world around them, much like their creators. One such soldier class among their ranks and are our enemy known as the Insectrox. More specifically, there is the Insectrox commanders and their underlings, the Dynamites.
We have almost no good specimen remains of either Insectrox commanders or their Dynamite underlings. Most that are defeated in battle quickly dissolve into nothing, cyberorganics included. However, of the very fragmentary preserved remains that we do have available, it has become clear that these creatures share a common ancestor to their Grox masters, likely originating from the same planet long ago. Domestication is, well, not an uncommon practice that independently develops across countless alien cultures at some point in their respective histories, taking an endemic fauna out of its natural home and selectively breeding it to serve its captors' needs. Or this is another equally important reason, to form a symbiotic relationship. Both parties benefit from working together. A sentient life form may not have the physical prowess that a pack-hunting apex predator may possess. But if aforementioned intelligence has a very reliable means of food production, then it may be better that the pack-hunting predator stay near the sentient race's outskirts, scavenging off the refuge piles and eventually providing aid to their new food sources' efforts in procuring a potential meal. It may not be entirely absurd to believe that the Insectrox are what once was a domesticated animal that the Grox have since repurposed into tools of war.